What is going on, guys? It is Bucky and welcome to your second intermediate Java programming tutorial. And in this tutorial I'm going to show you guys how to find characters and also substrings in a string. Sound awesome? I know, it does. So let's go ahead and get started and make a string. And I'm going to name my string S, and I'm going to set it equal to like Bucky Roberts. You don't need to spell it right, but just have a long string like that. Now, in order to find characters in a substring, you need, well, let's go ahead and make a system out println. And what you need to do is you need to write what string you want to search on, and I want to search this string right here, S. And now you need to call a method called index of. And is your parameter, you write what character do you want to search for. And I'm going to go ahead and write K in there. And I'm going to run this, and you guys are going to see what happens. As you see, it gives us the result 3 right here. So what exactly did index of do? Well, it said index of K. So that pretty much means search for the first instance of K. So you know that this begins with 0, like everything on your computer. 1, 2, 3. So K is at 3 to begin with. So this pretty much means, like I said, search for the first index of K and return its placement. So it did, but you can also do other stuff than just put it. I don't know why they didn't name it like search for or something like that, but they named it index of, so that's what it did. And aside from one parameter, you can also have another parameter. And this other parameter, if I put like 5 or something, this is a starting point. So what you're telling index of in this method is, alright, search for the first index of K, but ignore the first 5 right here. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this isn't even going to look at these at all. It's going to hop right to 5 and start here and start searching right there. So if we go ahead and run this now, instead of 3 or whatever, it now has 15. So if you count over 15, then this is the next K right here. So you have an optional starting point to search, but you know that isn't really used as often. And if you guys are wondering, alright, what happens if I give it a parameter that isn't in there at all, like X? Now X isn't in Bucky Roberts at all, so let's go ahead and search for this, and what happens is it gives you a -1 or a false result. So now we know how to use index of. And another cool thing we can do is look for substrings in the same way. So instead of just adding one character, if you add your double quotation marks, you can add something like Rob. So Rob appears right here, and if you search this, it'll give you the starting point for this, which is 5. And we can see that in, let me scroll down, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's where Rob starts. Now, just like before, we can give it an optional starting point of like 10 or something, and let's see what happens right there. 10, run that baby, okay, 17. So why did we get 17? Just to clarify one more time. Well, it found this one at 5, but then it said, alright, I'm not even supposed to start right here. I'm not even supposed to start searching till like somewhere around here. So now that I begin here, the first one I find is at 17, so that's why it gave you the answer 17. So finding stuff in a string, easy enough. Let's learn some more stuff. And I didn't think I'd have time in this tutorial, but evidently I do. So let's go ahead and make a string, and let's go ahead and make 2. Let's go ahead and make like A, and set this equal to bacon. I said a lot of variables equal to bacon. And let's go ahead and add a space after this. And let's go ahead and put string B equals monster. So now we have a string that says bacon, and now we have a string that says monster. Now oftentimes we have a, let's go ahead and just make a system out println right here. Now oftentimes we know that we can concatenate strings using something like this, A plus B. Now this output would give you obviously bacon monster right here. But what if you had a program where you didn't know what the strings were yet, or if you didn't want to concatenate them just this way? Well, I know that this is pretty straightforward and easy concatenation, but there's also another way to concatenate strings, and you do this more often in programming, and you'll see this later on when we actually use it. It's pretty difficult to show you an example that's useful without building a huge program, but this is how you concatenate strings more often than not. You go ahead and put the string name, which is A, and put concat, which pretty much means join this with another one, and as your parameter you write the string you want to join it to, and I'm going to write B right there. And now if I run this, we get bacon monster, just like that. So what it does is it takes this string as a parameter and sticks it on the end of this string. And yes, I did remember to put a space this time, so it just didn't say, you know, that would even work right there if you ran that. Bacon monster, just one word, easy enough. So now that we even covered that, let's go ahead and learn some more stuff. We can keep that right there. Now let me teach you guys about something called replace. Now this is, you can use this to replace, let's see, what can I replace? Well, let's go ahead and put A. That won't really work. I can't really change any of these words easily, but anyways, here's what the basic concept is. You can use a method called replace, and as your parameters for this, you go ahead and write what you want to replace in the string, and I'm gonna replace like bacon, and I'll just make it called taken or something. So let's go ahead and replace the capital B, and we want to replace it with a F. So now if we go ahead and run this, we see bacon now turns into fakin, just like that. Again, I couldn't come up with anything funny, or else I would, but I mean, you can't really turn bacon into anything easily, but I tried. Now aside from this replace, we also got two more methods, and that's to uppercase and to lowercase. So let's go ahead and take B and put to uppercase, just like that. And now it takes no parameters, and instead it just changes everything to uppercase. So let's go ahead and output this, and as you can see, my little monster now turned into big monster. And this is useful when you're writing to a database and you want everything consistent, since you know some people type their names in all lowercase or all capitals. You usually want to change it in the database to all capitals or all lowercase. So yeah, that's it pretty much. Or if you are like I said, you can change the first character, now that you know how to do that, to lowercase, or I mean to uppercase, and the rest to lowercase. That will add some consistency if they're like filling out a form or something. And the last thing I want to come over, or excuse me, go over, is this trim method right here. Now, if a user enters a bunch of spaces and you don't want that to happen, let's go ahead and see what happens when we output. It outputs that bunch of spaces too, since it's part of the string. But oftentimes you want to get rid of that bunch of spaces, or those bunch of spaces, whatever. I'm not grammatically correct, but who the heck cares? And all you have to do is write trim. In this trim method, it, as you can see, it removes any white space or spaces pretty much. So let's go ahead and save this. And as you can see, my monster with a bunch of spaces right here now turned into a monster with no spaces at all. So that's pretty much all the string methods I'm going to be going over. There's more, but I mean, you guys don't really want to sit here and watch me go over all these string methods, or you'll grow old. So in the next tutorial, I'm probably going to be going over recursion. Now everyone thinks recursion is so confusing, but I'm going to make it really easy for you guys. Give the quick 1-2, and you guys are going to love me. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you then.